You're live on BROfessor and Friends. Welcome to the show. Hey everyone, welcome to BROfessor and Friends. I'm glad that you're here. And if you have seen that intro video, it's because I had Matt and Kara on not very long ago, and I was so busy today at work that I was like, screw it. I'm just going to use the one that I did before because the show that we had before was when we introduced the new Gladiator.
Yeah.
And Matt, I don't know if you remember this, but I was telling everybody when I was I did a little live Instagram thing before we came on and told everybody that when I had y'all on, it was the first time and hopefully the last time that the tornado sirens went off during a live show.
Oh yeah.
And,
I forgot about
that. And I thought, it hasn't rained, and we live in the same city. So we see a lot of the same weather. So it hasn't rained here in weeks, maybe months.
No, it actually sprinkled on me today.
I invited you to come on the show because I had an opening tonight, and let me tell you, in my house, it poured down rain. I mean, came a flood
today.
Really? And I don't know if it barely missed your house, but
we haven't got a drop.
Today is Taco Tuesday. So my wife and I always go to Taco Bueno. And let me tell you, we were sitting in Taco Bueno, which is pretty much a straight shot from my house, go by your house to Taco Bueno. And it was raining so hard, we had to sit in the vehicle and we couldn't go in for a little while.
That's crazy because I'm like, 2 miles, maybe 3 miles as the crow flies?
Maybe.
To Taco Bueno, and it didn't rain a drop here. Not a bit.
Oh my goodness.
Conway has the weirdest weather.
It's crazy, and I was sitting there eating my tacos and watching the weather, and there was just one little bitty red dot right over Conway. So we must have been right underneath that little red dot, and you must have been just on the outside of it. But
must have. I was
craziest thing.
I was running errands earlier today and had the doors off the Gladiator, and as I was driving around, and it started to sprinkle.
Yeah.
But luckily, now that you mentioned it poured down rain, I remember getting to the other side of town and there were being like big puddles of water places.
Yeah.
I'm like, where did these come from?
That was the rain.
That's crazy.
So on the last show, we debuted the Gladiator, which you call what? Sully is the blue Gladiator that you have been traveling around in, doing all kinds of videos with. Tell me, how are you liking the Gladiator life?
I am loving it.
Okay.
I really am. Actually, just released a video 2 hours ago that was the things that I love and hate about the Gladiator.
Oh, cool. I was just fixing to ask you about those.
Just released that. And so far, I am very, very happy with it. I have no regrets in trading in my JK, which I thought I would wheel forever, but have no regrets at all.
Now, is there anything on the JK that you miss with having the new vehicle?
There's not really anything that I miss.
Well, anything about it, I guess.
There are things that weren't on it that I miss. that I wish were not on the Gladiator, and that's just all the nanny electronic crap.
You know, I have ridden in your Gladiator, and I was just in awe. I thought I was sitting in a 747 cockpit. It's unreal the amount of electronics that are in there.
It is, and that was my number one reason that I thought I would never own a Gladiator or the new JL Wrangler, just because I cannot stand all the electronics. But I mean, there's some off-road electronics in it that I do really like. Front-facing camera, just all the gauges and stuff. You have the tilt and yaw and pitch and stuff, so you can see what angles you're at as you're going over obstacles, that sort of thing. I like those features a lot. I really love the front-facing camera. Didn't realize how cool that was going to be. Yeah. But really love that. And it's all the safety features that I can't stand.
Okay.
You know, if you're in two-wheel drive or four high and you're moving and you open the door, it will shut you down. Yeah, you cannot. And if you're sitting still,
what if you don't have the door on there?
Well, it knows when the door's off. I know, isn't that stupid?
How's that
it knows when the door's off. But if you have the door open and you put it in gear, it won't let you move.
So it's a smart car.
It's dumb. It's stupid. I hate that. The lane departure or the blind spot detection sensors in the taillights.
Yeah.
If they get, I mean, where they're positioned and how they stick out from the body, mud will sling up from the tires and cover up the side of the taillights. And when that happens, a warning light comes on in the dash saying that your sensor is obstructed.
That's crazy.
It's so dumb. I mean, and I don't know, federal government, you got to have all the safety stuff now. Yeah, Samantha, I hear you. Yeah. But it's just so annoying. So my dislikes, my gripes are not probably unique to the Gladiator. It's any new car, any new car is going to be that way.
It's just the way it is.
You know, the Bronco has some crazy off-road tech built into it. But I'm also sure it has all kinds of crazy nanny tech too. So,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm real excited for you about having that. And man, we got a great crowd in here already. Yeah. We got Bats and Samantha, High Point. We got Long Creek, Jonathan Muncie from Long Creek. Welcome, Jonathan. And, you know, we're going to dive off into some of the places that you've been and talk about what you've got coming in the future. But first, let's pause for station identification and a thank you to our sponsors for the show.
Dance, baby, don't stop. Dance, baby.
Hey guys, it's Chris from More Expo.
Aaron with Switchback Outdoor Safe. I know from Rhino Belt Rod and Custom.
Hey, Jeff with Badack Adventure Co. Where am I from Overland Pioneer?
I'm Chef West.
Hey,
it's Adam at Step 22 Gear.
Jordan from NSM Overland.
Walker from Autotronics in West Virginia.
Hey, this is Aaron from Artemis.
Hey, I'm Tyler with Yoda Adventure.
And you're watching.
And you're listening and watching.
You're listening to.
You're watching.
The BROfessor.
BROfessor.
BROfessor and Friends.
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 Enjoy.
Sponsored by More Expo, April 8th through the 10th, 2022. Linson Solar, U.S. Action Tracks, Big Iron Overland Rally, Artemis Overland Hardware in Springfield, Missouri, Blue Cell Coffee Roasters, and Long Creek Overland Apparel. Thank you for sponsoring our show.
So, Matt, right after you, and I just want to say thank you to all of our sponsors. You mean the world to me. You took a chance on me. We're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. But since you've got the Gladiator, you have not treated this like a new car. You know, when my mom, growing up, when my mom would get a new car, we would park as far away from anybody in the world at Walmart. We would have to walk 18 miles to get to the front door because she didn't want anybody parking around her, no door dings. She didn't want anybody within 30 feet of it. I mean, you do not treat this like a new car. You immediately took this thing out and put it to the test. Tell us about some of that and what you experienced right off the bat.
Yeah, well, I've owned it for right at 4 months now. And in that 4 months, I've put 9,500 miles on it.
Wow. Oh, you're a fast track. You're going to wear them tires out pretty quick.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, I put 9,500 miles on it. That's 2 trips out to Moab in it. 3 trips total for me this summer, including the trip out there in my wife's Grand Cherokee. But yeah, so 2 trips out to Moab. And tomorrow I head up to Wisconsin for CORE, the Kinawa Overland Adventure Retreat. So yeah, I put a whole lot of miles on it. And when I got it, I mean, you know, I was used to wheeling the crap out of my JK.
Yeah.
And it was all scratched up from the Ozarks, and you know, it got wheeled hard. And so, I mean, knowing I was not going to drive this any different than I did my JK. So it being a new platform for me with the longer wheelbase and the longer back end, the first thing I wanted to do was learn how to drive it. And so as soon as I had it 2 weeks maybe, and had lift and 37s on it, and immediately took it to Hot Springs Off-Road Park to see what it could do and run familiar trails that I knew there just to see how it compared, and have been just super impressed by it. And then wanted to go out to Moab and run the hardest trails Moab has to offer, and did that and broke it. I broke a U-joint. I broke a U-joint on Pritchett Canyon. That was a long, grueling day, 13 hours to go 4 miles.
Would you say that's the toughest trail you've ever done?
Oh yeah.
Would you say that would be the best way to test a rig if you have the patience?
I think doing some of the other trails is a better way to test the rig.
Would you do it by yourself?
Oh no.
No.
No, never run a trail like Pritchett Canyon by yourself.
Good advice.
Never ever. A trail like because I did my very first time out in Moab, I did Top of the World by myself. I did Hell's Revenge by myself. I did Moab Rim by myself. Poison Spider by myself. So, I mean, I'm not afraid to wheel by myself. But a trail like Pritchett Canyon, even Cliffhanger, if something goes wrong on a trail like that, you're in big trouble. So,
well, at least you only have to walk about 4 miles to get help.
I know. I mean, it wouldn't have been bad. Yeah, it wouldn't have been bad.
Yeah, some of the other ones you're walking like miles and miles and miles and miles. But when I watched that video, I mean, my wife had to drink some tequila and take a nerve pill. I mean, she was
Dude,
just a
I wish I'd
nervous
had some
wreck.
tequila on that trip. Yeah, probably would have knocked me smooth out. It was 104 degrees that day.
Yeah,
I mean, because it was July 4th weekend. It was 104 degrees. There were 5 of us, 5 people. There were 3 rigs in our group for that one. And I drank 4 liters of water throughout the day. Still felt incredibly dehydrated. Just because of the nature of how hard we were working, you know, and with getting all the rigs up trails, did need a whole lot. By the end of the day, I felt miserable. It was just so
I could tell. I mean, by the time that you did that little selfie thing at the end where you had all the guys that were with you and you were saying, thank you for watching the video, I could tell you were ready to go to bed. I mean,
I was.
It's almost one of those times where you don't even want to shower. You just want to go straight to bed because you're just done.
I wanted to shower real bad. I think I said that in the video. It's like, first I'm going home, going to bed. Nope, going home to go to shower and then going to bed. And it's like, no, going home, going to eat, then going to shower, then going to bed.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, this week is going to be something completely different for you heading up to Core, which if you've never heard of Core, it's the Keweenaw Peninsula up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
I never know how to pronounce that first word.
Keweenaw, I think, is how it is, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong once already this year. My wife tells me about it all the time. How's that going to be a different experience for you rather than heading out west, which is normally your route that you take?
Well, I mean, first of all, I've never been up there. I have absolutely no idea what to expect, other than what friends have told me, what little bit I've seen in YouTube videos, and
it's going to be a lot cooler. I can promise you that.
It is, but it's actually, looking at the weather, it's not going to be as cool as I wish it was.
Yeah,
like we're talking high around 70, low around the 60. So not
with no humidity though, like we're used to feeling in Arkansas. That's going to feel a lot cooler.
So I'm going into this really completely blind.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've downloaded maps on Gaia. That's about as far as my research has gone, and I'm going up there to teach two classes on Gaia. So I've been preparing for that. But as far as I know where we're camping. But as far as the wheeling around there and what to expect with that, it's going to be all new and don't know what to expect. So
it's really, and I've only seen videos of it. The only time I've actually been up there was on a motorcycle in July of this year, and to tell you this, we wore jackets every day in July, and here it is September. So it's definitely going to be a lot cooler up in there.
Yeah.
And from being in Arkansas in the summer, you're looking for any kind of relief whatsoever from the heat. And so it's going to be a good experience for you. I guarantee you, it's a lot like being at the beach. There's a lot of places that you camp that's right on the water, and the water looks just like the ocean. So it's a lot like being at the beach.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Lake Superior. I've seen Lake Michigan. I've been to Chicago.
Yeah.
But I've never seen Lake Superior, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, if you get an opportunity, which you won't because you're blazing up there and you're blazing home, but the Indiana Dunes are really super neat. And I didn't know this, but all the lighthouses that are on the Great Lakes, they actually have a book that you can get stamps at all the lighthouses. I think there's about 40 lighthouses that you can visit up there.
I have seen a little bit. There's a couple lighthouses near where we're going to be.
Cool!
I definitely want to check out.
Very neat. Very neat. So, in the last, I guess you would say, month or so, maybe less, you've experienced a huge life change. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I quit my day job.
The dream that all of us have. You're living it.
I quit my day job, and.
What did you do? Sing? Did you sing? And then they said, weird. Matt, don't quit your day job. And then you said, I'm out of here.
Yeah. It's so weird. It's still so weird to say, but yeah, I'm a YouTuber now.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so YouTube is my full-time job now.
What,
which is really fun and really cool. And I'm having a blast with it. But these trips, these back-to-back trips that I've had come up since then and everything, are really wearing me out. So
I understand that. You're putting a lot of miles. You're almost like a truck driver. I mean,
I told Kara that as soon as I get back from Core, well, really things won't get to whatever normal is going to be until after Rendezvous in the Ozarks. That will be, because that's the last real event we have this year.
Right.
Is Rendezvous in the Ozarks. So I'm, as soon as Rendezvous is over, I'm ready to find out whatever normal is.
Well, and that's one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, because we have a lot of people that watch the show, a lot of people that are on social media that's their dream. I see it all the time where people have goals of in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. We're going to sell everything and go on the road. So in your short amount of experience, what advice would you give to those of us who are dreaming of doing that one day?
I mean, there's so many different avenues to do it financially. YouTube is just mine. I don't necessarily recommend everybody, try to make a living off YouTube.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of hard work, and it's a whole lot of, you got to get over the, just dealing with creating content that at the beginning nobody watches. And so you're really making it for yourself. And as long as you're doing it, because you love doing it and making the content that you want to make, just stick with it, and and it will happen. But there's, I know other people who retired early, and so they're living off that. I know people who have have military retirement, then they're living off that. I know people that have sold a business, or just decided to downsize, and they sold their house in Dallas and bought a fifth wheel camper, and taken all the money that they had from the sale of the house, and they've been living on the road for the last year and a half.
The financial
trying
part
to grow their YouTube channel. So
the financial part would be the hardest part of it, I imagine, because I don't, I have a lot of friends who are overlanders, and I don't know any who are independently wealthy, and so it's really hard to just take off. You got to figure out some way to do it. So my question to you that I want to know is that with doing this and going full time and being a YouTuber, do you feel pressure to put out content, and does that take away from your experience of what you love about overlanding?
Well, I mean, because it's my source of income, I definitely feel pressure to put out content. I mean, that's a given.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take away from the experience at all. It is,
and I've asked you that before because you really love doing the videos. So I
enjoy the creative process, and really my favorite thing to do, and I think you can tell in the videos when you watch them, are the trips that I make solo. Just go out by myself exploring. Those are my most fun videos, because when I'm wheeling in a group of people, I am, no matter how supportive they are, no matter how much they love seeing the videos after, that sort of thing, I'm always definitely aware of every time I tell the group, okay, we're going to stop here to set up a camera, or we're going to stop here to launch the drone, or hold up, let me go through this and come back.
Yeah, you almost feel bad for making everybody wait on you. I know. I know what you're saying.
Like, I have never had an experience where where someone has told me that's gotten on their nerves.
Yeah.
But I'm still conscious of it.
Yeah.
And so those trips that I go out solo, I can do whatever I want, and I can be as creative as I want to. I will drive past something, and I'll go, oh, that would be a cool place for a cool camera angle. So I'll back up, I'll get out, I'll go set up the camera, and then get my shot, go back, pick up the camera, and that sort of thing. And I'm just completely free to be creative, and I have so much fun doing that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. And so that creative process and the filming of the trips is half the fun for me.
Are you finding it easier now that you're full time? Is it easier since you have more time? Is it easier for you to put out more and better content now than what it was before?
When my first 2 weeks of being full time, I didn't have any trips right then, and so I was having a blast just making videos.
Yeah.
And put out, for 2 weeks in a row, put out 3 videos a week. My previous schedule had been 2 videos a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then this last Moab trip happened. And all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, I've got to prepare content in advance for while I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
So because my release schedule has been a Tuesday and a Friday. So leaving on a Wednesday, had to make sure that Friday, which is always my big trip videos, that Friday video is ready, and then another video for the next Tuesday. I was like, okay, cool. I cannot get those videos done in advance and crank out 3 a week. That's just not going to happen. So that last Moab trip forced me to take a step back, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens after I get back from core and kind of get in that groove. But I am finding, I think, and those of you that are on here that watch the videos, tell me if I'm wrong. I think in the last 6 weeks since I've been full time, I think the videos have gotten better. Just because I can spend more time in the editing process, I can hone and tweak, and just spend more time fine tuning them. And I think the videos, the quality has gotten better.
Well, and I've seen you actually. You're a student of. I hate to say the game, but you're a student of this art and wanting to learn. So I've actually seen pictures that Kara has taken of you sitting and watching videos on how to make videos. So you try to make it better. You do what your due diligence of learning and trying to make it better.
I mean, I've of course got my favorite channels that I watch, and so every time I'm watching them, I'm also trying to learn from them too. That camera angle is awesome. How'd they get that? Or, I like what they did there, but not really a fan of that one. Yeah. Some people, mount the GoPro like on their rear axle, and I'm like, I don't really like that shot.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly learning and paying attention to where other people use music and where people don't. And, music can be people have a lot of opinion about music in the video. Some people are like, I didn't come to watch this video to listen to a rock concert. And some people are like, some people are like, really, really love it when all I can hear is the sound of the tires, going over the rocks or going down the road and that sort of thing. And so, you're not going to please everybody all the time, but I like to just try to find what works and have a good balance of.
True. Well, from my experience in watching YouTube, which is about 99% of what I actually watch when I turn the TV on, because I hate paying for cable. So,
well, and I know you, and so far TikTok isn't something you can watch on your TV. So
no, it's not. It does help me get through some overtime at the hospital, but I don't watch it when I'm at home. But for me, who works 60, 70 hours a week, and when I turn on YouTube to watch you or Jorge and Jessica or any of these other ones that I watch, the ones that make me feel like I'm there, because there is where I want to be. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be working 70 hours this week. I want to be there. And so the ones that make me feel like I'm there, that's a big attractor to me. And I know everybody's different, and I've heard the music thing too. But in the last year and a half even, we've seen a huge transition in your videos, because when COVID hit, you went to doing everything in your garage and doing all these product reviews and all this other stuff. And now you've kind of transitioned away from that to the travel videos again. So where do you see the percentage of this happening? Are you going to still be doing the product reviews, or are you going to be doing mainly other stuff?
No, I enjoy doing the product reviews. One thing that this has allowed me to do is, instead of just do it in my garage, is I can, take the time to go to a campsite that's 45 minutes away, or a spot I know nearby the house that is more of an authentic place for where we're gonna be. I've done that in a couple of my recent review videos. Sometimes I'm just because of the necessity of I'm going to do something in the garage, but I like doing them out in the environment that we would be using those things in. So that's been good. I couldn't do that before, but I try to do, right now I'm on the schedule of 2 videos a week, a Tuesday and a Thursday. The Tuesday video is going to be some sort of gear review or how to, or, you know, the one I released today is things I love, you know, the things I love and hate about my Gladiator. So it's that type of helpful video. And then the weekend video is always going to be a trip video.
Okay. Well, I really loved, you know, the on-site where you went out by yourself and did the review of the Zero Breeze air conditioner, where you went out there.
That was a fun trip.
Sweated yourself to death during the day, and then you froze at night. So I mean, that was you could have done that as easily, or a lot more easily, actually, in your driveway, but you chose to do that actually where people would use it, and that made it more realistic, actually. For us to view.
And you know, anytime I'm reviewing something, I always want to see what other videos are out there, because I don't want to copy them, and I don't, you know, I don't want to just produce the same video that's already out there. And so many of those type of videos, be it power, you know, the Zero Breeze or power stations or whatever, is just going through the specs. Here's how it works. And I don't ever want to review anything that I personally wouldn't use, or that I wouldn't endorse. And so before you know, for me to actually make a video on the Zero Breeze, I had to know if it was actually going to work. And so that's what I did that trip for, is, you know, I picked the hottest day I could find in July and go camping.
You did. You picked the hottest night.
It was, but I sure got cold that night.
It still blows my mind. And if you haven't seen that video, if you haven't seen Matt's video on the Zero Breeze, plus there's scenes in there with Matt without a shirt on. So I just want to throw that out there.
Not in the Zero Breeze, in the solo video where I was filming the Zero Breeze video.
Right.
Yeah, that is true.
So that, you know, that was a big attractor for a lot of us. But you know, like Jonathan says, when you turn the camera on, things are going to happen. And that's the way it was. That's the way it was pre-COVID. I mean, if you turned on an Ozark Overland Adventures video pre-COVID, there was going to be a gigantic mud hole. There was going to be squeezing through trees. It was going to be an epic trail event. And, you know, we really didn't see a lot of that through COVID, but man, when you went out to Moab and took your Gladiator through Pritchard Canyon, there it started up again, real life stuff, with you wearing your winch out where it wouldn't work anymore, and you know, just things that people are going to experience. I mean, you broke it, and that's what makes it interesting to a lot of people, because that's what you're going to actually experience, and you show that. You don't cut out any of the bad parts. You leave all the bad parts in there and make
it's not just it's not just pretty. We don't. I mean, sometimes this overlanding thing is a whole heck of a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah. You are exactly right. And some of it is our own fault. Some of that's our own fault where we choose to go. You know, so if you choose to go to Pritchard Canyon, watch Matt's video, because you're going to see what you're getting into. It was just one obstacle after another, after another, after another, and there was no relief, no way out. Once you're in, you're in, and it was just, that made me a nervous wreck. But a lot of your videos make me a nervous wreck. So,
well, the ones that are coming out now are from this last trip to Moab. It was just me and my buddy James, just the two of us and his son. That has a completely different feel, this Moab trip, than the first Moab trip. And I told James had the idea, because when we went out there the first time, with the group of friends that we went with, we rented an Airbnb, and all split it and stuff. And it was when James asked if I could go back with him over Labor Day weekend. I was like, yeah. He talked about, let's just get a hotel instead of an Airbnb. It'd just be so much easier and a little bit cheaper. I was like, man, if you want to get a hotel, that's fine. I just got the rack and the tent on the Gladiator, and I want to live out of it.
Yeah.
So this second trip to Moab was running different trails, but very much living out of the Gladiator and what that was like. And I loved it.
Well, you posted one of the most epic campsites that I've ever seen, and I think being able to see that in video form rather than photo form will be something that I'm definitely going to want to see. So
that was just incredible, and I just stumbled on that one. I was just we came off. We were running Poison Spider, Golden Spike, and Gold Bar Rim, and came off of it, and I just we actually got off it like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was like, oh, we got time. And I had a couple camp spots marked that if I didn't find anything, I can just go there. But I just drove down this road that, on the map looked like it dead ended at a bluff. And that's exactly what it did.
Yeah.
And it was unreal.
Yeah. You definitely piqued a lot of interest with that. And it made people wonder, I wonder where that's at, So that's definitely a cool thing. Now, go ahead.
The neatest thing was actually it's the video that'll come out Friday. I started in Red River, New Mexico, which is usually my stopping point between Conway and Utah or Ouray or or Colorado. So camped up on Greeny Peak all by myself. That was great. But then the next night we got into Colorado, went into we ran Poughkeepsie Gulch and Engineer Pass, and found this great campsite on Corkscrew Gulch before getting to Ouray.
Mm-hmm.
And it got so cold that night that there was ice on my rainfly. And we were not expecting it to be that cold. I was expecting, low 40s, but not frozen rainfly cold.
Right.
And so we woke up that morning to ice on the rainfly, and then left the San Juan Mountains and drove to Moab, and there was no ice that night. It was very pleasant. It was a very pleasant night. But there was didn't have to worry about ice from that point on. So the variety of that trip, just from one night to the next, was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Now with you going full time, you are relying a lot on support, and I know that in all of your videos, you thank your patrons, you list your patrons, and you list your sponsors and stuff like that. As a creator, how does it make you feel when people take their hard-earned money and invest in you?
It's still weird. It's still really weird, and sometimes even uncomfortable. We started that in January of this year, and I wrestled with it for a solid year to decide whether or not we wanted to go the Patreon route. But knew just from talking to other overlanding creators that YouTube's a very fickle thing, and they change the algorithm all the time. Sometimes it'll decide to share your video with a crap ton of people and get a lot of views, and sometimes it'll decide to kind of ignore it.
Yeah.
And there's not really any way to predict that. So to have a stable income, or at least a stable base, I should say.
Right.
Everybody I talked to said, yeah, Patreon's the way to go. Get the people that support you and love what you do, and give them an opportunity to support you in a tangible way.
Right.
I was like, okay, all right, that makes sense. And then we're trying to give some value to that by sharing all of our GPS locations, and all of our routes, places that we go, and campsites and that sort of thing. And then some other stuff, that we do. But starting that was a difficult decision, but so glad we did. I thought, we would have, if I'm lucky, maybe 100 patrons by the end of the year. and it's September, and we're up to 125 now, and so that's really blowing me away.
It's awesome.
Every time I get a new one, I'm just like, holy crap. Holy crap. So it is humbling. But having that connection with those people, because, obviously I talk to our patrons more than I just respond to YouTube comments. And getting it every time I get a chance to meet one face to face is so awesome. And they are super encouraging. And we've got several in the chat right now.
Yeah, we do.
But it's super humbling that someone likes what you're doing enough to support you financially.
And I've always preached that on this show. If somebody, for the price of what you would rent a movie for, you could support somebody, and you're actually supporting them and their life. You're putting food on the table, and so it's a lot like shopping local. Where we preach that, for $5 a month, you can support those who are really needing this to continue that. And so,
support the poor starving overlander.
Put a gallon of gas in Matt's Jeep, because I know it won't get him far, but it'll get him closer to his goal. But what? I think
and we have chosen, we've got 4 different creators that we support. So it's definitely something that we try to do full circle. And we've got there's 4 different creators that we support because we like what they're doing, and I've learned a lot from them. And so it's cool.
That is cool. I really like that, and I really think it's worth our time and it's worth our money for sure. And plus, you actually give a lot of benefits that normally people wouldn't have if they do come on your become a patron. So there is more benefits to that. So you're getting what you pay for, and I would encourage everybody to look up Ozark Overland Adventures on Patreon and sign up.
Cool.
So what is tell us something, what's your future plans for OOA? What you got in the future?
Oh, well, let's see. We've got core coming up, then we've got Rendezvous in the Ozarks, where I'm teaching guide classes. I am not, actually told Randy last week at Natural State Overland that I'm not going to be a trail guide this year. Last couple of years I've done both, and last year just wore me out. Getting up early in the morning, doing the trail guide thing till noon, 1 o'clock, depending on how those depending on how your group goes. And then immediately coming back, not having time for lunch, not having any time to walk around the vendor area and, chat with people, and going straight to teaching a class. And it's just exhausted me last year. And so I decided this year I'm going to go wheel, but I'm going to go wheel on my own terms and with, anybody who wants to go, and not be a trail guide, because I still want to teach the class. I love teaching the classes. And that way I have more time to just hang out. I didn't get to hang out with my friends last year. So this year I want to hang out with my friends. I want to hang out with new people. I want to chill around the vendor area and see cool stuff, and probably buy some stuff. Probably buy some stuff. And so that's my plan for Rendezvous this year. So I'm gonna teach classes. I'm not gonna be a trail guide, but just want to have fun and hang out with people. Then in November we did one in the spring, but we're doing an Ozark Overland Adventures. We call it Subscriber Weekend. And we did one back in the spring, had 20 people come to that. And we do it kind of base camp weekend style. There's no fee for that. We're not charging anybody for that, because we're doing it in those Ozarks, and don't want to deal with the whole permitting process. So, it's completely free. But we'll have a sign up sheet. We do open that event up to our patrons first. They get first dibs, and we'll have 15 slots available. And if I'll let them sign up for about a week, and if there's any spots left, then I'll open it up. I'll post it on our Facebook page and Instagram stuff, and let anybody else sign up if they want. And we just hang out and we go wheel local, little short trips out trails and back, and it's just a kind of a fun weekend to hang out around camp and get to know each other. And then let's see, that's October, November. We don't currently have anything planned for December. I really don't have anything else on the calendar until the More Expo in April.
Wow. Okay, so you got a lot of open time in there, which is
got some time, and
that's prime time in Arkansas too. That's
and I'll be making a lot of day trips. I'll be making some overnight trip stuff because one of my goals between now and then is to explore the Ouachita National Forest. I don't know it near as well as I did the Ozarks, and there's a lot of beautiful things to be found out there. There are some decent technical trails, depending on how your rig is built, but there's not a lot. It's just a lot of graded Forest Service roads. So my goal is to explore the Ouachita National Forest and map it out in Gaia like I have the Ozarks, and then hopefully put something together like the Ozark Overland Adventure Trail, but for the Ouachitas. I will be spending all of my day trips, most of my day trips will be spent in the Ouachitas.
Awesome.
And exploring it and finding campsites and finding cool trails and finding streams and swimming holes and amazing views and all that sort of stuff.
Awesome.
So that's my personal goal is between now and spring is to explore the Ouachita National Forest. Excellent. And I'll say the biggest struggle with this going full-time YouTube thing has been the fact that my wife Kara still has a job. She is not full-time YouTube. And so my trip out to Moab, my second trip out to Moab, she couldn't go. My trip tomorrow to Michigan, she can't go because she's out of vacation time. So we are working to try to see what we can do to change her roles and do something that's not true full-time, but also not just true part-time either, but something that's flexible, has flexible hours so that we can maybe, stack her hours at the beginning of one week and then stack them at the end of the next week and have, 5-6 days around the weekend that she and I can go out and do stuff together. So that's been the hardest thing is knowing that, YouTube's my job now, but I have the freedom to go and do, and Kara can't, and we love doing that stuff together.
Right.
So that's been the biggest struggle.
Not only do you have the freedom, not only do you have the freedom to do that, but you kind of have to do that to keep the YouTube channel going. And
I don't think my channel would. I don't want to. I don't want to build my channel around gear reviews.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that kind of channel.
Yeah.
I definitely want to keep doing those, but I want to be an adventure, going and doing channel. So
well, that's definitely commendable. A lot of guys would love the position you're in because it would get them out of the house. But with you saying that you want to do this so that y'all can spend more time together, that's definitely more commendable. And I did have it in my notes to ask you about how this has affected you at home. Going full time, because I know you have been gone a lot, and you do spend a lot of time behind the screen.
Yeah, it's been a struggle, and I tried real hard to make sure like my campsites in Moab had at least a bar or two of cell signal, so we could text. I'm really nervous about this trip to Core because there's like no cell signal, like none. So I will be depending very heavily on my Garmin inReach.
Yeah.
Or I know there's a couple places not too far away up on a ridge line and stuff. I may just be breaking camp and going and parking up there for an hour so I can catch up with my wife and see what's going on.
Just have some kind of communication whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, thank goodness for the Garmin inReach. So I should be able to at least text her, good night and I love you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Good morning. I did find we were at one campsite on this last trip to Moab where even Garmin, we had no cell signal, and so Karen and I were trying to communicate just purely via inReach, and long texts are not inReach friendly.
Yeah,
it takes forever for them to send. It's kind of like going back to Twitter. 144 characters and you're done.
Yeah, it's
so
dial up internet.
it's very much is. Yeah, it very much is.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh crap, a cloud just came by. This tech is never gonna. So,
well,
know.
what do you have plans for the Gladiator? Have you got it how you want it, or is there some other things that you want to change about it?
No, as far as the build goes, I'm really, really happy with it. When I get back from Core, I'm getting it regeared.
Okay.
I have I get back on a Monday, and that Tuesday after I get back, I've got an appointment to go have it regeared, because it does great on the trails. It does great around town and on like highways and stuff with the 37s. But on the interstate, it's horrible. I mean, it's got an 8-speed transmission. Most of the time I'm cruising in 6th gear, not 8.
Yeah.
And so like back and forth on I-40, if I never have to travel I-40 again, I will be happy. I told, I don't know how I'm always lucky enough. There's a headwind going west.
It's always in your face
when I go east.
Every time. It's always in your face.
You know, so I was getting 12 miles per gallon coming back from Moab.
Yeah.
Which makes one for one very expensive trip.
Yes, it does.
At those gas prices out west. Golly. But yeah, so I'm curious to see what it's like going north instead of east and west. I'm curious to see what it's like tomorrow traveling north. But regearing's the next big thing. And I've got to replace, after that, I've got an appointment to get a new drive shaft on the front. The factory drive shafts, anytime you lift it, you know, very much, it puts that drive shaft at an awkward angle, and I knew it was living on borrowed time anyway.
Yeah.
So the boot is currently torn on my drive shaft, and I'm just hoping it gets me to allows me to wheel around the Upper Peninsula a little bit without breaking. So regear, drive shaft, the not fun stuff.
Yeah.
You know, get the bed rack, the rooftop
not flashy.
tent, the lift and tires. Those things are the cool mods.
Yeah.
It's the unseen things. Like gears, drive shaft, those sort of things that are very important, but there's no cool factor to them.
You're right. You're right. I'm in the same boat, and
that's about it.
Bats is saying that they're in the same boat too. I've got a regear in my future. I've just got to do it.
They've got their new Gladiator, and they drove it out to Colorado from Mountain West, and they know.
Well, what about some new gear? Do you have any new gear that you just fallen in love with?
My tent.
Tell us. You did a video on the tent.
Yeah. We've known James at Global Road Outdoors for a couple of years now. I met him at Rendezvous in the Ozarks a couple of years ago. And he's does a great job with, I mean, you can't really call a hard shell tent budget friendly. But as budget friendly as a hard shell can be. And I have just fallen in love with his hard shell tents. And so we had one of his first gen tents, and he just came out with his second gen tents. And now both me and Kara have the exact same second gen tent on both of our rigs. So I mean, my trip to Moab was my first real time in the new tent, and it is fantastic.
Cool.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So crazy excited about my tent. That's really the only new gear that I've got. Everything else I've had and have proven and really like it. But that's not only really new gear. I mean, I get new power stations all the time. Those don't count. But
what rack did you end up going with?
Rebel Off-Road.
Okay.
I went with the Rebel Off-Road rack. We had talked to two other companies that we thought were going to work out, and they couldn't deliver in the timing that we needed them to. And so ended up going with, I called Rebel Off-Road, and they're like, yeah, we've got one here in the warehouse. If you want it, you can have it. And so I was like, here's my credit card, and got it. So
I love it. Well, that's great information. We've talked about where you're going to be, where people can come and meet you face to face. Going to be at Rendezvous Not next week, but the next, I think it's the last week in September. I'm going to have all the guys, I think there's 5 of them from Natural State Overland on the show at once.
Oh, that'd be fun.
They've never been on a live show before. And so they're all really anxious about this. They've asked me a million questions.
I'll definitely have to be on that one.
And that's going to be a great show because I'm really anxious to hear what they've got planned for Rendezvous this year. Last year was a record event, and I'm sure this year is going to be a good one too. But those are some cool guys, lots of energy. I think they're going to be really great. So not next week, but the next. I think it's on a Tuesday at 7. We'll get those guys on here and have a great time. So I hope you can join us for that. But you're definitely going to be at Rendezvous, and also another great tool that you put out for your patrons on your Patreon is if you get ready to go for a day out in the Ouachitas, you invite your patrons to go with you. I've seen that before. And then you do your patron only.
It's usually spontaneous, and they remind us we still have normal day jobs.
That was all the comments that I saw. Have a good time. Let us know how it goes, but we got to go to work. That's pretty much how it is. But that's another great thing that you offer for your patrons. But just make sure that everybody gets out there and gets on Ozark Overland Adventures, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and also on Patreon. Anything else? Man, I don't think so. Oh, there is, and I don't remember the dates. It's an event that Dome Life is doing. Oh, the trash pickup in November, in Little Rock. I cannot remember the dates of that. But we're gonna be there helping out with that event. Cool. Partnering with Dome Life on that one. So yeah, we'll be there sometime in November. I don't remember when it is, but we'll be there. Awesome. Very cool. Well, once again, I want to thank all of my sponsors for making sure that this show happens every week. Artemis, you were there from the very beginning. More Expo, April 8th through the 10th, 2022. Make sure that that's on your calendar. Chris did a world premiere last week. Saying that Big Iron Overland Rally is going to be the first weekend in June in Kansas. Can't wait for that. Put that down. Linson, Blue Cell Coffee, Action Tracks, Casey, I appreciate you believing in me. And this week added Long Creek Overland Apparel. So thank you all for sponsoring this show. And check out longcreekapparel.com, longcreekoverland.com. I can't remember what the website is. Long Creek Overland. Yeah. Longcreekoverland.com. All of these guys that you watch on YouTube, a whole bunch of them put their stuff on there, and you can get it all in one place, and you could support them. And that's another great way that you could get the word out. They're fantastic. They're a fantastic partner. Great people. Great. Yeah, people. We have 3 new shirts that have come out. Awesome. I should be wearing one of them right now, but I forgot to put it on. We got three brand new shirts that have come out. Awesome. That I'm really excited about. Get on longcreekoverland.com and check those out. Yeah. And Matt, appreciate you being on here. That's always fun to visit with you. Always informative and entertaining, as always. After this is over, you need to get your wife a pickle because she deserves it. I sure will. That's right. And everybody, I hope you have a wonderful week. And remember, as you go through this life, look out for number 1 and don't step in number 2.
Dance, baby, don't stop.
Thank you for watching.
BROfessor.
BROfessor and friends.
Sponsored by U.S. Action Tracks, Linson Solar, More Expo, Big Iron Overland Rally, Blue Cell Coffee Roasters, Long Creek Overland Apparel, and our good friends at Artemis Overland Hardware. Thank you for watching our show.